The Buffalo Bills just got a triple dose of good news. Bills Mafia, every single year there is great news. Every single year there's bad news. And frankly, every single day, every single week in the life of a football team, there's things that happen inside our locker room, on the field, and even outside of our locker room in other teams' locker rooms that affect us, that affect our team. And today we could talk about a triple dose of good news. That's Joey Bosa being dominant, Matthew Prater being perfect, or even a guy like James Cook, who's just been exceptional already this season and is proving that he earned his contract and that he was well worth paying. But today I want to talk about a triple dose of good news that has nothing to do with those three players and frankly has little to do with our immediate success against the Jets this last Sunday. But I want to talk about three things. The first thing I want to talk about is the Miami Dolphins spiraling. They're proving to be a team that does not have the edge that we thought they might have. We thought they were going to be the contenders for us in the AFC East. They don't seem to be. But the second dose of good news is coinciding and building off of that is that the division seems to be ours to lose. We expected maybe some more out of the Patriots. We expected some more out of the Dolphins. But right now it seems like the Buffalo Bills are in control of the AFC East. And that leads us to our third piece of good news, our third dose of good news just here on this Monday, is that the AFC as a whole, the conference, just doesn't seem as strong and as built right now as it usually does in September and early season October as maybe it once did or has in the last couple years. So stick with me. Each of these pieces of good news, they stack on each other. And this ultimately is going to lead us up to a conversation about January football, hopefully all the way through January into February, even in Orchard Park. But welcome to Crack the Table. My name's Colin. We are all Bills, no breaks. Today, we're going to be breaking down that triple dose of good news. But if you love Buffalo Bills football, make sure to subscribe, like this video, but also just let me know right now in the comments, what was your favorite part of our win against the New York Jets yesterday? Should I say New Jersey Jets? Yesterday in MetLife Stadium. Let me know in the comments below. But let's get right into it. I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins spiral. You know, Miami didn't just stumble. Frankly, they face planted. 2 weeks, 2 losses. And for a team that so often starts with a level of domination offensively, they just have not showed up in the ways that maybe we thought they would. Again, usually Miami early off in the season is putting up 70 points against a team like the Broncos, or they're just showing that they're here to compete and they're firing on full cylinders. It's usually later in the year that they're falling off the train tracks. But even right now, they've got fans showing up to their stadium who are bringing signs of saying fire, that they want their head coach and their general manager fired. But week one, they had their just wheels blown off them by the Indianapolis Colts. Again, hammered 33-8, and Miami was outgained. They were out executed and even out toughed. And a team that was built for speed showed none of it in week one. Tyreek Hill and even Jalen Waddle seemed to just be slow as molasses. And I mean, yeah, Achane had an okay game. He had an okay play to get a touchdown. But again, the Indianapolis Colts set the tone of that game, and they did not disappoint. They beat the Miami Dolphins. But then week two, the Patriots played against the Dolphins, and in that game, Vrabel walked in as the first-time head coach into the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, and they left with a win. It was Vrabel's first win. You know, they just lost against last week against the Raiders, and this week they came out with a win based off an Antonio Gibbs 90-yard kickoff return that answered Miami's touchdown just a few moments before that. And again, that's not just a mistake. That's just a gut punch to the Miami Dolphins organization really, really early on. And it's just showing a level of vulnerability. They don't seem to have the toughness to win these games. And optics really do matter. Again, a team like Miami seemingly goes into the fall for the last handful of years with a level of success as an offense especially, but they're just not showing that. They're now 0-2 and going into a schedule that's only going to get harder for them as they go into the rest of September and even October. Again, the bottom line for this first dose of good news is that the track team, frankly, has seemingly lost its runway. The division rival that was supposed to put Buffalo on blast is not. You know, I remember a couple weeks ago posting a video putting some of Miami Dolphins on blast. And you know what? I want to go check the receipts on this. But while Miami Dolphins has been slipping, actually the Buffalo Bills have been stepping full on the gas. Week one, we had this like cardiac comeback where we were down late, and Josh Allen had these heroics. Matthew Prater had the game-winning field goal, and that's not just a normal football team behavior. Usually, I feel like we'd be okay, or we'd be talking at this point about a 1-1 Buffalo Bills team. But no, we have the identity, we have the culture, we have the grit, we have even the versatility on our roster to get out of holes like that. We won that game, and now that is part of our identity and our core way of thinking about the Buffalo Bills, that we never give up even until the end of the game, even when we've been losing for almost 60 total minutes. We stay in the game and we fight. But then in week 2, we had this dominant win against the Jets, and we were all looking for it. We were all looking for the run game of Justin Fields or Breece Hall or Braylon Allen, or the passing game with Garrett Wilson to show a level of consistency. But you know what? Our defense stepped up in a way that I don't think anybody was really expecting and talking about, especially after watching the Jets go against the Steelers in week 1, which the Steelers are usually a really a good, reliable defense. And, they just lost, I guess, against the Seahawks. But the Steelers, I think, showed a level of promise. And we were kind of expecting a pretty efficient offense of the Jets to come in. But you know what? The Buffalo Bills defense showed up and they showed out. Yeah, they couldn't do anything. James Cook had a dominant game, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, Josh Allen didn't have to play hero ball. So the defense absolutely smothered the Jets, which again is leading us to our second dose of good news here, which is ultimately that the division is the Buffalo Bills to lose. The Bills are 2-0, the Patriots are 1-1, but then the Jets and the Dolphins are 0-2. And again, it's night and day when you're going into the beginning of the season or going later in the season, that these games really do matter down the stretch. In 2023, teams sold out to make Josh Allen play perfect. They really tried to buckle him down and make him have to throw those big passes and make mistakes. And yeah, we saw some turnovers, but right now, Josh Allen isn't having to force plays. He's not having to play hero ball. We have a well-rounded unit that showed we can play a high-level offense or we can play a really solid defense. And again, I don't think anybody wants to play the Buffalo Bills right now. We are a strong team going into the rest of the season. But the last thing I want to talk about, the last dose of good news, is that I think Buffalo really has a path to AFC supremacy and even that first round bye. Again, we were coming out of that game against the Ravens a little worried about our defense, but the way they showed up, even without Teron Johnson, even without some of our other players like Ed Oliver playing, we still showed a level of competency, and we were a little bit scared as fans. But Kansas City is still Kansas City. They could still be a good team down the stretch when they get Rashee Rice and when they get X-Worthy back. But the West, the AFC West is a bit noisier, right? We've got the Broncos, we've got the Chargers. The Chargers look pretty good, but even if KC comes back and we play him in a handful of weeks, the undisputed number 1 seed that's to lose is through Buffalo right now. The North, is a bit of a knife fight. Cincinnati losing Burrow. The Steelers look okay, but we just beat the Ravens. So we'll see who comes out of that division as the winner. I expect, the Steelers to be okay. We'll see. The Bengals have just been, their offensive line has just been so terrible this year. I'm not sure what to expect of them yet, but the South is kind of, they've got some fresh energy. We'll see what comes out of them. But again, Buffalo sits at 2-0, and we're still carrying a really big signature win against the Ravens, who's probably the second best team in the entire conference. So, we can run the ball, we can play defense, we can pass the ball. We have a closer at quarterback who could dominate games when he needs to. But the triple dose of good news again is this: we are going to play against the Miami Dolphins. They look like the wheels are falling off. The second dose of good news is that we look to be dominating, or at least taking clear ownership of the division of the AFC East, which is going to put us in prime position later on in the season as we stack wins against teams like New England coming up, like the Jags coming up, like the Dolphins coming up, and even this last week against the Jets. But the AFC isn't handing out trophies yet, right? There's no crown of the AFC until the conference game, and so until the conference championship. But we can still look at this and say, hey, we're going to look around the NFL and we're going to see how teams are playing. And right now, we look pretty dominant. We look pretty good, and that's great to see. So again, last thing for the numbers people, the Bills have won against the Ravens. The Bills have won against the Jets. The Dolphins did lose against the Colts. The Dolphins did lose against the Patriots. We're going into this game on Thursday Night Football where we should clearly be the winner against them in week 3, and we should walk out of there 3-0 on top of the division still, and with a clear, potentially 2-game lead at the end of the week. But in all of it, thanks for stopping by. My name's Colin. This is Crack the Table. We are all Bills, no breaks. Have a great day. Deuces.